is Joan Anolua, and I'm the founder of Family Life Technology, and we are going to be taking you some classes to enhance your counseling skills. So very quickly, I'm going to be teaching us core qualities, core competencies of a very, very good counselor. And the first one is active listening. A good counselor must be a person who can listen to their clients without interjection and interruptions. So most of your sessions would require at least 80 to even 90% of listening. And then the 10% can be where you come in, where you give your counsel. So you really have to give your clients the opportunity to express their minds, to share what it is they're going through. And you must own that skill and be able to listen to them without interrupting them. You might be tempted to do that, but you must be a counselor that is able to hold yourself back and allow your clients express themselves. And that is why you also need to let your clients know the time they are paying for. So if your client is paying for an hour session, you have to let them know, okay, this session is for an hour. And if they talk for that 1 hour, you might want to ask them to extend their service and perhaps pay for an extra hour. But the important thing is that you need to be an active listener. The second thing is that you must be unconditionally empathetic, meaning that when your client is talking to you, you must not judge them. You must not be critical. Oh, that's my baby crying in the background. You must not be critical. You must not be judgmental. You must have an unconditional bias for them. So if you hear a person telling you how they did terrible things, you must have the capacity to listen to what they are sharing with you without being judgmental and without showing it on your face that they are saying something that, is a lot to hear. For example, a person telling you that they killed someone or they committed murder or they used to be a ritualist, stuff like that. Because if you're a counselor, people want to tell you the deepest secrets in their heart. And if you are showing it on your face that they are saying something that is terrible, something that is a lot to bear, they may lose the confidence to speak any further. So as a counselor, your emotional bandwidth has to be large to listen to people without judging them, because your role is a counselor. There is a difference between a counselor and a therapist. So you must be an unconditional empathetic person. You have to drop your bias, you have to drop whatever beliefs you have and listen to them without judging, right? The first one is active listening. The second one is unconditional empathy, unconditional bias. You must be ready to listen to all kinds and all sorts of things without shaking emotionally. Your client should not come to you and then you're crying when they talk about how maybe they lost their family, they went through some really, really tragic experiences. If you're crying with them, you are no longer the emotional succor they've come to. You are now literally like them. They need somebody that can show and demonstrate strength. So this is a core competence of a counselor. The next thing is that you must be trustworthy and confidential. Everything your client tells you has to stay in that room. So if your client tells you something, you are not allowed to go and discuss that thing in your church, in your community, or with your spouse. No, you are not allowed to discuss them with your spouse. Everything your client shares with you is confidential. And if you would ever need to share what they've shared with you, you have to take permission from them. I know that as counselors, you may want to use certain people's stories as an example. You also need to take permission from them to do that. So even if you're not mentioning their name, as long as you want to share their stories on a public place, on a public platform, you need to seek their permission and ensure that they grant it before you share their stories publicly, even if you're not mentioning their names. Trustworthiness and confidentiality is very, very vital if you want to be a successful counselor, because stories spread. People will know if you share their story with someone else. If you're sharing it on your social media, people will know. So if you don't have the outright permission to share people's stories, do not share it. They have to stay with you and you have to keep them to yourself alone. Don't even share it with your spouse or to another client. It has to stay with you. And the last thing I'm going to be talking about is that a great counselor is always growing and improving themselves. You are learning the technological skills that you need. You're learning to use Zoom meetings. You don't necessarily have to meet people physically to have your counseling sessions with them. You can leverage platforms like elmav.co, which is our web app at Family Life Tech. What we've done is to build this community for couples, for singles, for empty nesters. These are parents who are no longer parents. In other words, they've raised their children and their children have grown and their children no longer live with them. We have all of this community for different kids of different family systems. And so when these people need counseling, you, as an expert on elmav.co, will be their go-to expert. We'll connect you with them, they'll pay for your service, and you will be paid your own money for the service you've offered. As a company, we take a little percentage of the amount that is paid so that we can keep the web app running, we can pay our staff and continue to serve you. It's just a little percent, but other than that, every other money is going to you. You can find the policy of this company and the percentage we take on our policy page. It is right there. Everything is transparent for you to see, and we communicate everything clearly. And if you have questions, please feel free to reach out and ask us any questions you have. So what are the 3 things I've spoken about now? Active listening, unconditional empathy, and bias. Like, you must not be biased, right? Trustworthiness. You must be very, very skilled at being a confidential person. Whatever they share with you has to stay with you. It's not going anywhere. You're not sharing it with any other person. And finally, before I go, one more tips I would like to share with you is you have to be self-aware, right? You have to be self-aware as a counselor. You need to know when to console your client without necessarily crying. So if they are sharing something really emotional with you, you might want to console them, but you shouldn't be crying with them, because you will have to show some sort of strength at that point in time. And in a situation where you're also counseling a person of the opposite gender, it will not be appropriate to leave your seat and go and start hugging or petting that client physically. That may be inappropriate, especially when the person you're counseling is an opposite sex. The next thing is cultural sensitivity. It's important that you understand the culture of the person you are counseling. You don't just say anything anyhow. In certain cultures, certain things are taboos. In certain cultures, certain ways are not the right ways to behave. So it's important that you understand the cultural setting of your client. And that is why, as a counselor, anytime you're taking in a client, we have a form that you are meant to fill. We have the one we use, and we can duplicate it for you when you join our community. So you will understand the demographic information of your clients. You know where they are from, their country, their religious background, their family background, their educational background. Yeah, so you need to know if a person is literate or if a person is not literate, so that you can know how to reach them at the level where they are. You need to know if a person is highly sophisticated in knowledge, so that you can also communicate with them at a very, very cerebral level, right? You shouldn't be talking to a person that is a PhD holder the same way you'll be talking to a person that is in secondary school or as an NDE, because there will be a difference in the way they communicate, and their level of communication will differ as a result of their level of education or even exposure. The next thing is that as a counselor, you have to be patient. You definitely have to be patient. Patience is a core competence of a counselor. You must not be a person that is in a hurry, or you just want to quickly blot out what is in your heart. You have to be patient with your client. You have to allow them take their time, and that's why, like I correctly mentioned, if 1 hour is not enough, you get them to pay for another hour or get them to pay for another section. Do not rush your clients. It's very, very important. The next thing is flexibility, right? Like I already said, on elmav.co, people can book you virtually, and you can offer your services to people virtually in the comfort of your home. As I'm talking to you right now, I'm doing this in the comfort of my studio at home, and you're watching me across different locations. So being a counselor will require flexibility, not only in the way you handle your clients, but even in the tools you use. Prior to now, people have to do counseling physically, but that doesn't have to be so. We are going to teach you how to use platforms like Google Meet, platforms like Calendar, platforms like Calendly rather, to help your clients get your services in a seamless and in a smooth way. You should also learn to get feedbacks from your clients, and then be cautious to take note of the feedback you receive from your clients and work on them. Yes, you get positive review, but when you find out that there's a certain review that different clients are leaving about you, you want to look into it. So it's important that after you serve a client, make sure you get their feedback. We also have a form that you can administer to them. We can duplicate the one we use and you can use it, and then you get those feedbacks and use it to improve your skills. So if you've not signed up on elmap.co, what are you waiting for? Go sign up on elmap.co as a counselor and let people find you and come and serve the communities we already have at Family Life Technology. Thank you.